Welcome everyone to another Get Crafty video. Today we have a great lineup. So today we're going to have Caroline come in and we're going to look at bog and coastlines. So today it's myself, Aislinn, we have Ronan and Kate who will now say hello as well.
Thanks very much, Aislinn. It's nice to be on. It's my first time joining you for one of these, so I'm very excited to see how it all goes. And look at the videos. Particularly, I'm interested in Caroline from the Friends of Merlin Woods. I haven't been out in a bogland for a long time, so I'm sort of eager to see what sort of things she comes across, and I'm looking forward to the show.
Hello guys, thank you for joining us for this video. We're very excited to be back with you this morning, despite being very tired after a fantastic night with BICS last night, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So yeah, back to Aislinn, I guess.
So our first video is going to be with Caroline from Friends of Merlin Woods. As you know, they've been with us a few times and they just always come back with something really interesting, and I feel like I always learn something new. So I feel really grateful to have them bring a new video this week. So let's go on to the video.
This week we took ourselves out to the west, and the first stop was the Red Bog Hill, and we went along with Kieran Bruton, who's a botanist, to explore the area and to see what other wildlife we could see and to look at bog habitats. Like a lot of bogs out here, you'll find the bog cotton. You'll also find bog asphodel, which was historically used to collect saffron. The devil's bit scabious as well, which is the larval food plant for marsh fritillary. We're out here in a bog just past Aislinn, and I'm looking at a West Galway speciality plant called the St. Davia Heath. Beautiful little specimen here. The next plant we're going to look at is the common butterworth, and it has a single stemmed flower which was purple. It is a plant that catches insects, and they stick to the leaf, and the leaf rolls up and digests them. And the next one which you can find near it is the round-leaved sundew, and again it's another plant that likes to capture insects. A beautiful plant you can find out here is the English stonecrop with its red succulent leaves, and they're greener when they're younger. We also spotted this young grasshopper as well, but the jury's out yet on the identification of this one, so we'll have to wait and see. And here is us enjoying a trip around the bog, but you need your wellies because it's pretty wet terrain in certain places. Not only do you get a lovely view, but you can be lucky enough to catch kestrels hovering over the area, and here's one we saw on a telephone wire in a closer view here. The second location we stopped at was a coastal heathland, and this was to show you a variety of different plants that can be found and to show the difference between the bog habitat and the coastal habitat. A great selection of plants, and this one here is navelworth, a beauty. Next one is samphire, and that will be one used by foragers for cooking. The scarce blue damselfly, female. Sea campion here. A stonechat, female. Ribwort plantain, common enough. And parameadow brown butterflies here mating. Yarrow, wild thyme. Tormentil. Sea aster, another beauty. Louseworth. Sea mayweed, perennial sow thistle here as well, bird's foot trefoil, another common enough one, sea plantain, so we already had the ribworth, and this anthill as well, and last of all the frog. What we wanted to show you was the variety of wildlife from both places, and this is just a selection of what we saw on the day. Hope you enjoyed it.
was amazing. I don't. My dogs are barking. Apologies. I have to jump in with a question. Since then, have you been able to identify the insect?
The grasshopper, no, when we find things like that, we thought first of all it was the marsh grasshopper, you know, it's called actually, just a photograph. And because it's so small, even the experts couldn't identify it. So he reckoned it was at a nymph stage. So like sometimes you can get photographs and things like that, but sometimes the only way of identifying it is kind of seeing the adults. So insects can be very difficult to identify, you know, depending on, like last week we got a ermine moth, and there's loads of different species, and the experts were saying you couldn't identify it from photographs or from the adult. You have to actually catch one in a pupae stage and rear it, and that's the only way you can identify the different species of ermine. So it's pretty complicated in some of them, you know.
You mentioned it that you were out past Invern in some of those boglands, and I was just curious for my own sake, because I'm thinking maybe it might be a nice day trip. Are those places that kind of accessible to the public? Are we able to?
Oh, they are, yeah. Like we don't tend to give away locations, so it's really going out there and experimenting or exploring.
Yeah.
You know, so taking a walk in a bog, like, because a lot of bogs you'll find a lot of those species in. But what we wanted to show on the day was, if we went to a bog, what can we find there? And then if we went to a nice kind of green area beside a seaside or the coastland, what can you find there? And the second location was just somewhere that a friend had brought us for a walk. They live nearby, you know, and we said to the Kieran, do you want to have a look down here at this beach area? It's a nice place and we might see some different stuff. And we were actually amazed, all of us, on the day, because when we'd been there before, we hadn't seen that much flowers, depending on the time of year. But it was just spectacular. Like, it would be nearly like something that would need to be protected. It was so good.
It struck me that a lot of those flowers, in particular in the bogland, were very delicate looking. I was a bit surprised, because I think of it as a very sort of harsh, rough environment with a lot of, you know, waterlog and rocks and wind. But these beautiful little intricate flowers that just were amazing to see the photos of. Like, they really looked.
It is like the bogs are an amazing place, and you know there's a lot of bog reclamation and stuff going on. And the bogland we were in, I would say it has been probably overgrazed as well, so there wouldn't be as much variety as some bogs there. Or, you know, but it was for me, it was kind of like, maybe it was the time of year, maybe if we'd come earlier, we'd have seen more flowers, but there was more flowers in the heathland, in the coastal area, than there was in the bogland. And as you said, maybe the harsh conditions, or it may have been that the bog had been worked in the past, so maybe it wasn't as, what would the word be? Maybe it wasn't as wild as it could be, you know what I mean? So, but I mean, it was seriously wet. You'd be walking along and next thing you're in water, you know.
To add to Ronan's point there, I thought it was so interesting. There was such delicate flowers, but then also some of them looked like something from outer space. Did anybody else?
Absolutely,
like alien like. Very cool.
Yeah.
There's absolutely the variety, like it, and a lot of those are so small as well, you wouldn't even notice them, you know what I mean? You'd have to get right up close. Like, we had planned on doing a video, but there was something wrong with the phone on the day, so we ended up just using the photographs, because normally we do a video for you.
Yeah.
And
it meant that you could get nice close-up shots.
I mean, it wasn't
I really
bad.
liked the first one that catches the insects. It was just
the bog plants are incredible, you know, like that's so pretty. The red one, the first one was the butterwort, which is a green one, and now the flower wasn't it, we didn't get it in flower, but like it's the leaf of that, the insect lands on it and it can't get off, and then the leaf will roll up and absorb it in its leaf, you know. And that's how it kind of survives, is by eating insects. And there's sundew, of course. Then that one was the round leaf, and there's another type of sundew. And I mean, if you go to any bog area, you'll see those, and they're just they're so spectacular. They're nearly exotic looking, you know. You kind of think, God, we don't have those, and we don't have exotic stuff in our country. But when you get down to the ground, you'll see so much amazing stuff, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you say carnivorous plant, the thing that comes into my head is like, the Venus flytrap in some
Yeah,
Amazonian environment. I never
absolutely.
realized that we had carnivorous plants here in Ireland. Like that's
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do.
fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really kind of catched. I know. I don't know how many we have or anything. It's kind of to say we're only learning ourselves, kind of what's out there, and trying to learn as much as we can. And I kind of tend to try and learn as much about flowers, and it's great to go out with the botanists. So like Kieran is a member of the BSBI, which is the British and Irish Society for Botanists. I think is the long term for it. So people can go out with them in groups. Now I don't know if they're up and running now, but you could go out with them on a day trip and learn about flowers. If you were interested. And flowers is a really good way to start, and butterflies are a really good way to start to learn about insects and nature.
I suppose the flowers have a harder time running away from you, so
Well,
that would help.
the thing.
Like everybody's talking about, staycations now, like in the current climate. It'd be such a great activity for families to go out and do and try and find new flowers
Yeah, in their own locality. And
yeah.
I think, especially when lockdown was on the 2 kilometer kind of thing and the 5 kilometers, people were exploring their own areas, and looking at nature a bit more closer. But I'm hoping with lockdown that doesn't all change again, where people go back to shopping.
That's
Yeah,
true.
hopefully
And
we've all taken something from it that will
Yeah.
stick with us rather than just kind of reverting back to old ways. Because we've
Yeah.
talked before about like the positive impact on nature and all that. So yeah, it'd be nice to see it as a sticking.
Yeah, especially for families and that, because when you start kids young with nature, I think you might move away to all the teenage things and forget about it. But I'd say when you'll come back to it again. It's kind of a lot of people learn things when they're younger, and they might come back to it in their later adulthood as well.
yeah,
Brilliant. Thanks
Well, that
again
was
for
great.
another amazing video. I certainly
Thanks very
learned
much.
some new information there and saw some flowers I don't think I've seen before.
yeah. So I suppose the next thing to talk about then is last night and how that all went. So for those of you who aren't watching in from home, we were, or rather not we were, but the BICS, the Boards of Irish College Societies, were live streaming the National Society Awards that they run every year from Athlone, and a couple of the nominees from NUIG were at a dinner party in the Galway Bay Hotel, and we watched in the stream and had a great old evening. I won't spoil the surprise. Maybe I'll let I'll let somebody else let you know how we did in terms of awards and stuff. But we had a fun night, to say the least.
Yeah, it was great. We did a bit of karaoke. We even presented awards to our own society awards winners that we did back in April. If you remember our amazing video that went up on YouTube. So everybody got their certs and their recognition last night for that as well as our fantastic results at the BICS Awards. But of course, the whole evening was, socially distanced and socially responsible. So no need to worry about that. Aislinn, do you want to let the cat out the bag?
We started off quite slow. The tension was building, and I think we were all thinking, are we going to come away with anything here? And then, so basically there was a break. We didn't get anything in the first half. And then the second half began, and lo and behold, we bagged three. So yeah, so our first one was for best event, which was a Kumakon anime and manga. So I actually I don't know if you can tell, my voice is gone. I think we're all really like that today. There was just so many cheers and it was really great. The second one was for Best Society, Civic and Charity, which went to Sláintseach. And third was for Best Society, Cultural, Academic and Social to Dramsa. Yeah, every award was just well deserved, really hardworking, and of course, congratulations to everybody, all the other colleges who bagged awards as well on the night. And it was so nice to see everyone in the flesh again, and just a little bit of normality, responsibly, as Kate said. But a really good night.
So, Kate, what were your sort of thoughts and takeaways from the evenings? Any particular moments that you thought were, you know, unusual or outstanding or a great success or maybe not so successful? Like, what were your stellar
Well,
moment?
I think a personal highlight for me, because when I was in college, my main society was Dram Soc. So to see Dram Soc win best society in the country was just amazing. My partner is a vice auditor, so that was really, really exciting. I think for me, one of the best moments was when we were doing the karaoke, it was, we always knew it was going to happen, that the Dram Sockers and the Gums buddies were going to, get up there and hog the mic. But it was really nice to see other societies, non-performance societies getting up there and giving it a lash, which I just thought, that's a scary thing to do for some people. Not everybody's comfortable getting up and, putting themselves out there in front of a room, even just for a laugh. So it was really nice to see, some of our quieter societies, get involved and join in the fun as well.
Ashton, how did you feel about the evening? And you were snapping lots of pictures of people as they came in their glad rags and throughout the whole night. So you were kind of on duty for the whole night. So how did it go for you?
I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I have to say, like, it had a lovely feel, and everyone was in great spirits. And I have to say, the food was really nice, and the staff and the Galway Bay did a super job. So thanks to them as well for that. I just thought it went really well because you don't know what to expect from your first event like this, and there was high expectations, I think, and I think it went really well.
No, you're dead right. We were, well, yes, it was a lot of expectations on us, and it's that first sort of thing. But you're dead right in saying we were very well looked after. Galway Bay Hotel were very mindful. They did say this was kind of their first sort of event evening since all the restrictions came back. So they were sort of very cautious and very mindful as well, and a little bit eager to see how something like this would work. So I certainly felt very reassured by all the extra attention that they were giving the event. And of course, we were supported in a lot of other ways. Like we had colleagues within the university in the drama department lending us equipment for the live streaming, the Town Hall Theatre lending us equipment, other people in the university helping us along and lending us a hand. And of course, BICS, the incredible effort that they went to in terms of logistically trying to get people from all over the country to take part in an event like that. It was a huge undertaking, and yeah, I was glad to see how well that came off.
What was your personal highlight of the evening, Ronan?
Oh, actually, yeah, I suppose I was there too. I'm not sure. I think what I was most worried about was that because of all the sort of precautions you have to take for social events, I was worried that on one hand, maybe those precautions might dampen the mood a little bit, that people would be a little upset that they couldn't, get together for group photos and give each other a hug and stuff as they normally would. And on the other hand, I was worried that people wouldn't be mindful and would be sort of throwing caution to the wind a little bit. So I was really relieved and really happy that everyone was kind of very mindful and respectful of all the social distancing and all the precautions the hotel had put in place and the seating plans and all that. As I suppose they've been dealing with this sort of stuff for a couple of months, but also that people seemed really thoroughly to be enjoying themselves. Throughout all the streaming, like people were enjoying the sense of getting to see the little stream parties from around the country and their excitement from day one, getting to see us cut to Athlone and see some of our own, see Riona and see Cameron and see how they were getting on and how they were doing with the presentation. So I was just really glad that everyone else seemed to be enjoying it. And I think that was my highlight, excluding all the awards, of course, which were nice to see.
Yeah, I think Rina's phone call in was so sweet. I think I reckon Riona got the biggest cheer of the night, awards included, to be honest.
Roll the clip.
And Ashton, like you mentioned earlier, that hopefully by this time next year we'll be back to a more normal situation where the winners of our own society awards will be able to go to an in-person BICS Awards and get to participate with everyone else from around the country physically together. But of course, the other important thing was this was sort of a trial and a taster for how things are going to be at the start of this year. And it was nice to see that both in a limited sense, an in-person event can happen and can be enjoyable for the people taking part, but also that there is, you know, it is possible to do stuff online, and that, you know, people can enjoy it and enjoy tuning in from a distance, and that there was kind of fun to be had with that.
So hi everybody, I'm here still in Athlone after the BICS awards last night, our virtual awards where we streamed out to the country. We got fantastic feedback from all of the colleges, and it actually was surprising fun. We were up in the purple penthouse with the fabulous views behind us of Athlone, and we were engaging via chat, Twitter, you name it, and getting lots of feedback from the students all over the country. And of course, personally, I was so thrilled with when we first won Best Event for Cúmacán, so deserved. And then, of course, our Sláinte, Best Society Civic Charity. They're fantastic, an absolute force of nature with a great teddy bear hospital. And then I thought, surely this night can get no better. And then we win the Best Society in the cultural, academic and social field for our unstoppable forces of nature that are Dramsog. Very well deserved. Could not have been prouder. As a part of the BICS exec, I was thrilled that the night went so well. But then as Societies Officer in Galway, I was humbled and thrilled, and I could see that everybody was having mighty safe distancing crack in the Galway Hotel. So a big shout out to all the societies, and of course to all of you in the SocsBox for making such a great night. It does give me hope that we can have events and we can run them safely and we can have fun. So it does augur very well for our future. So well done everyone, and thanks for getting the opportunity to come in and say hi to everybody from Athlone. Thank you.
Thanks
So,
very much, Riona. It's great to hear from you, and it was great to see you up on the screen and to cut to you in Athlone. It was, once we were kicked off, almost like we were in the same room. So we really enjoyed seeing you, and well done on how well it went on your end. It was really enjoyable for us.
Thanks a million, guys. Thank you.
Thanks again so much for tuning in. Thanks to Kate and thanks to Aislinn for doing the bulk of the work now. And yeah, I suppose we'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.